We all know AI agents are getting incredibly powerful, right? But they've got a huge communication problem. See, to really unlock that next level of complex problem solving, they need to start talking to each other. So today, we're going to dive deep into the protocol that makes that possible, A2A, the protocol for inter-agent communication.
Okay, so here's the game plan. We'll kick things off by looking at the big problem A2A was built to solve. Then we'll get into what this universal language actually is. We'll break down its rules of the road, see it in action with some real code, and finally, we'll zoom out to see why this is such a big deal for the entire AI ecosystem. All right, first things first, because to really appreciate just how much of a game changer this is, you've got to understand the problem it's solving. And it's a question that, on the surface, seems pretty simple, right? I mean, you've got this awesome agent for scheduling, another one for crunching data, and a third one for writing up reports. Why can't they just, team up on a project? Well, the harsh reality is, without a common language, these specialized agents are like brilliant experts stuck in separate soundproof rooms. Think about it. An agent built on, say, Google's ADK is basically speaking a different language than one built with LangChain or Crew AI. They're incredibly powerful on their own, but they're totally isolated. And this isolation creates a massive roadblock. Look, trying to patch things together and build custom bridges for every single agent, it's not just a headache. It's super expensive, it's slow, and honestly, it just kills innovation before it can even get started. What we really need is a standard.
And that, right there, is where A2A comes in. It's basically the universal translator that finally lets all those brilliant, isolated experts start talking to each other.
At its core, A2A is an open rulebook for how agents should communicate. And it's not some crazy proprietary thing. It's built on the web technology we all use every day, HTTP. This gives agents a super clear, common framework to hand off tasks, coordinate their actions, and share info. And the best part? It doesn't matter what tech they were built with in the first place.
And hey, this isn't just some idea floating around in a white paper. We're talking about the heavy hitters already getting behind this. Salesforce, SAP, LangChain, even Microsoft is jumping in, weaving A2A into huge platforms like Azure AI and Copilot Studio. That kind of industry-wide buy-in, that's what gives a standard real teeth.
Okay, so we know what A2A is. Now let's get into the nitty-gritty. Let's look at the actual rules of the road for this new language. How does it all really work?
So any A2A interaction really boils down to three main roles. You've got the user, obviously, who starts the whole thing. Then you have the A2A client. That's the agent working for the user. And finally, the A2A server, which is the other agent on the receiving end that's going to do the heavy lifting. So, you might be wondering, how does one agent figure out what another one can actually do? The answer is something called an agent card. Seriously, the best way to think about it is like a digital business card, or maybe even its LinkedIn profile. It's just a simple file that lays it all out. Who I am, what I'm good at, and here's how you can reach me.
Let's look at a concrete example. Here's one for a weather bot. Right away, you can see its name and the web address where you can find it. But the really important stuff is in capabilities and skills. The card says, loud and clear, hey, I can stream my responses, and I have a skill called Get Current Weather. This is exactly how other agents can look at this card and know instantly what it can do for them.
So, how do agents find these business cards in the first place? Well, there are a few main ways. They can look for it at a standard public web address, kind of like a default homepage. They can also search a central catalog, which is basically an address book for agents. Or, for more private setups, they can just be configured directly, told exactly where to find the card. Now, another cool thing about A2A is that it's flexible. It supports different styles of conversation. You've got your standard synchronous request-response. That's like asking a question and getting a single, straightforward answer back. Simple. But then you have streaming. That's more like subscribing to a live news feed, where you get a constant flow of updates as they happen. And what's really cool is that under the hood, the change is incredibly simple. For that one-and-done answer, the method call is just send task. But if you want that live feed, you just change it to send task subscribe. That's it. That tiny change unlocks a whole different, way more dynamic way for agents to talk. Okay, enough theory. Let's see what this actually looks like in practice. We're going to walk through a real code example.
So in this first snippet of code, this is where the developer is basically building the agent's brain. You can see they're picking a specific model to use, giving it a name, and a really important instruction. You are an agent that can help manage a user's calendar. And crucially, they're equipping it with tools. In this case, the ability to talk to the Google Calendar API.
All right, now for step 2. This is where they create that agent card we were just talking about. They package up all the key info, its name, what it does, its skills, and then, and this is the key part, they use that card to launch a web application. This is the moment that agent effectively goes online. It's now discoverable, and it's ready to start talking to other agents using the A2A protocol.
Okay, so we've gotten into the nuts and bolts of how it works. Now let's pull back and look at the bigger picture. Why is this such a game changer for the future of AI? And this diagram really helps clarify a super important point. A2A is all about agents talking to other agents. It's for collaboration. This is totally different from something like MCP, the Model Context Protocol, which is about a single agent talking to its tools, like a database or an API. So to put it simply, A2A is for teamwork, MCP is for tooling.
So, the big question is, when should you actually use A2A? Well, the rule of thumb is pretty straightforward. You use it anytime you need different agents to work together, especially if they're built on different platforms. It's absolutely perfect for creating these complex, modular workflows, where one agent gathers data, hands it off to another one to analyze it, which then passes it to a third one to write a summary.
And all of this is driving towards one big ultimate goal: to get away from these giant siloed AI systems and move towards a truly collaborative and open ecosystem. A2A really enables this Lego block approach, where you can snap together different specialized agents to build something much more powerful. It's going to unlock a ton of innovation.
All right, so let's just do a quick recap of the key takeaways. Number 1, A2A is the open standard that lets AI agents talk to each other. The agent card is like its digital identity. It's flexible, supporting both quick questions and real-time streaming. And maybe most importantly, it's the foundation for a future where specialized agents can team up to do amazing things.
And that really brings us to the final and, I think, most exciting question. For the last few years, the whole race has been about making individual AI smarter and more powerful. But now that they have a universal language, now that they can actually collaborate, what new kinds of problems can they solve together? I think we're just scratching the surface of what's possible.